Hi, welcome to Fabric Bias. It is June 2025 and I'm working on a project today that is a pillow cover again. Although it's a one-sided flanged pillow cover. I've never done a one-sided flange, so I'm going to see. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard. So we're going to see if I figure it out. The story behind this, we have this bench or chest thing that sits in our entryway and it just collects stuff. On the last set of stuff that it collected, a king size really flat pillow ended up on there, and as it turns out, the pillow fits the bench. And I thought, wow, if I cover that up, make a nice cover for that and tie it onto the bench, maybe it'll look like it's more of a seat than a collection spot. I don't know, probably won't, but I'm going to try it anyway. So I have a 16 by 31 inch pillow. It's not actually 1 inch deep, it's a little bit deeper, but it's really flat. So I'm thinking, I'm counting it as 1 inch deep. It's real squishy too. I mean, it's just an old pillow. And the bench itself is 16 1/4 by 31 1/2. So I'm going to shoot for the 16 by 31 inch measurement with a 3 to 4 inch flange on the front. The flange is just going to depend on the fabric dimensions. So the way I figured out what I'm going to cut is I'm going to go 16 plus that 1 inch plus a 1/2 inch for seam allowance. That's going to be my height, which is actually going to add, now that I think about it, because I'm going to add that to the top and the bottom, it's going to add 2 inches, so it might be a little blousy. I'm going to stick with it though, because I haven't given myself any leeway in any other way, and I can always take it out in the flange if it ends up to be too much room. So I just have a larger flange, and I'm happy with that. So my length is going to be 31 plus that 1 inch plus a 1/2 inch for seam allowance, and that's a 1/4 inch on each side. So that gave me 17 1/2 by 32, but that didn't accommodate for a flange at all. So it's not going to be lined. I'm going to cut, I already did actually, 2 inch wide by 2 inch wide by width of fabric strips to make some strings to attach to the pillow to the bench. So what I'm going to end up doing, what I ended up looking at, was I was so close to the fabric. I looked at the fabric. The fabric is actually 44 inches pretty much wide, so I've just divided that in half and went with 22 for these two pieces. So it would be 22, I kind of was looking at it, 22 inches wide by 32 1/2 inches, sorry, 22 inches high by 32 1/2 inches wide, and for the top, and then the bottom would be two pieces because it'll be envelope style. So one piece would be 22 by, am I thinking of that right? I think I'm thinking that wrong. Let me go back to the drawing board and figure out again. All right, I'll be back. Okay, no, I'm right. So it's 17 1/2 plus the flange. And so I divided, instead of, it was 17 1/2, if I do it 2 up on the across the width of the fabric, it would be 17 1/2, 18 1/2, 19 1/2, 20 1/2, 21 1/2, and then seam, well, no, I'm not really worried about that. I already counted that in. So the 4 1/2 inches is the flange if I just go to 22, and I did that because that's the width of the fabric. So I'm not going to go bigger than that and have to use up more fabric. I want it to be economical and fit on the fabric. So this is what I was thinking, and then I'm looking at it and I'm going, well, the fabric is directional. But do I care if it's this way or this way? And I really don't. Kind of sat here for a little while and I thought about it. Do I want it on the bench this way, or do I want it on the bench this way? And I'm like, well, I like this, but I also like this. So I'm going to go with what saves the most fabric, although I do have another scrap project to do with afterwards, after this one. So hopefully I will have leftovers. Oh, my brain is not working. But what I've decided is this is my width of my fabric. I'm going to cut my 32 1/2 inches by 22 inches, and then I'm going to cut my 22 inches, and I'm going to go 21 and 21. Well, that's almost the width of fabric too, so I probably will end up just cutting these 22 by 22 and 22 by 22, because what's built into this 21 inch here is the hem. So that's half this distance. So 32, I'm ignoring the 1/2 inch because I don't need to worry about that. It would be 16 plus, they have to cross over each other, the flaps on the back, to make that envelope style. So I just added about 5 inches, and I'm not worried about, you know, seam allowance or anything like that, because there's plenty in that 5 inches. And now it looks like it's going to be 6, so I might even actually put a cuff on them. So fold it over a 1-inch cuff or something. I don't know. We'll see. It'll give me stuff to play with at any rate. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut out. I'm going to start off by cutting out 2 22-inch wide pieces, and then I'll get the 32.5 inch out of one of them, and then 2 22 inches out of those, I think. Anyway, it'll give me something to play with. All right, I'm going to get started, and that'll be that. Okay, so I'm using directional fabric. Oof. So you have to be a lot more careful, or at least careful. And so what I did was I laid out my width of my exterior, my top piece here, so I could look at the direction of the pattern here and make sure I got it right. And I still got it wrong. So I decided I would mark these at a 1/2 inch and then 1 inch, and then it would be easier to iron. I would be able to just fold it on the lines and then press. I marked them on the wrong side. I marked them on the end, so if I marked them that way, then my pattern would be going on the back, would be going this way, and the pattern on the front would be going this way. So I was, luckily I caught it. I was being super careful, and I'm like, oh, let me check one more time, and I blew it. So then I went ahead and marked these ends, because these are the correct direction. So these are going down, just like these. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, because I marked one and then I marked the other. You have to make sure you're marking the right end, because this end comes this way, this end comes this way. And if you mark the wrong end, if I mark the other, like the other side of this one of them would be going this direction, the other one would be going the other direction. So I got lucky on mine. But yeah, you do have to be careful with that directional fabric. So I do have this, and I clipped it because I've got marks now on this side and on this side. I clipped it so I know this is the side I'm pressing. Once I've got this stage done, I'm fine. No big deal. I can't mess it up at this, because these are going to be the cuffs, and I'm putting the cuffs in right now. But I've got the sides marked, so I know which side to press and which sides to ignore, because the markings are wrong. And I'm getting ready to go do that right now, and I don't know if you can even see it. I just used a pencil, because you're not going to be able to see this. So a 1/2 inch and then 1 inch from there to make the cuffs. And once I'm done with that, I will lay these 2 pieces together on top of this piece and make sure I have enough of an overlap that I'm happy with before I move on to the next step. And then I have these I'm taking to the iron too, so I can start making or pressing the folds for the straps in the back. All right, just wanted to share that with you. I'll be right back. All right, now, so I have everything pressed, and this is the straps that I'm going to put on the back, or the strings, whatever. I'm not going to do the math to try to figure out a third, a third, and a third. I just folded it into 3 equal lengths, and then I'll just cut it here and cut it here on the ends. Once I have it cut, I've already done one of them. So here it is, just cut. Here, you're going to want the ends here finished. So that's why I didn't sew it first, because if you sew it all the way down first, then you have to kind of roll it to finish the ends. You can take your ends and you kind of fold it. I know this is horrible because it's so dark it's hard to see. But you can roll your ends like that. But I prefer to finish the ends first. So you cut it into your thirds, or whatever length you want. And then it's pretty easy. You just take from here, where you have it folded, you're going to open it back up again, and then fold it back the wrong way, just once, like that. And once you do that, you have it all folded the wrong way, you just stitch straight across. And you want to try to go straight so that when you tuck it back inside the right way, so now you're going to take that and push it back in. And once you've done that, you have a finished end. If you go a little bit crooked on your seam, then this sticks out a little bit. You can just kind of trim it at an angle. Been there, done that on it. So that's what I've done here, is I've got it flipped the right way and I've got it trimmed. And you're going to poke it, and I just use, really carefully, I just use the tips of my snippers and kind of just push them in there to get it straight. You got to be really careful because you push it right through the fabric. Once you've got it back right side out and both your ends are finished, then you can stitch and top stitch on each end side. So that's what I'm going to go do with these is I've got to finish sewing, well, cut these to length, flip these the wrong way, sew the ends, flip them the right way, and then stitch up each side for that. So I'm going to go do that with those. These ones, so what I've done is I've laid it out my pieces here, just on top of each other to see if I have enough of an overlay between the two pieces that are coming, and that's a pretty generous, I don't know if I'm on camera, there we go. That's a pretty generous amount. I mean, this is here, this is here. So that's where it's going to be. I did, again, a 1/2 inch here and then a 1 inch cuff on each side. So I think it looks pretty good. I think that's okay. And I do have my cuffs facing each other, so I can see that my fabric will be going both facing the right way here. Okay. There, can you see that? Sorry, it's so dark. It's not a great choice of fabric. The exterior is going opposite right now. It doesn't matter because I'm not sewing these pieces together right now. When I go to actually sew them together, I will make sure they're all going the right way, even though that truly doesn't matter either. But because one will be on one side of the pillow, one will be on the other side of the pillow. But for my sake, I want them all going the same direction. And right now they're opposite. So I have these shells going that way and these shells going that way. And I don't want that. But it doesn't matter because I'm taking these off right now, these two pieces, to stitch them. And all I have them do, I wanted to lay them out here to see if my really flat pillow was going to stuff in there, and it's yeah, I might be a little tight. We'll see. We'll see. I'm also not going to have finished. It's not going to have finished edges except here where they meet. The edges of the fabric themselves, once I sew them together, won't be finished. So I might go back and I might zigzag them. Haven't decided yet. I probably will end up zigzagging them. I could do French seams so that then I did have no exposed seams or no exposed edges here, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to put them together the way I want it to sew and clip it, and then maybe I'll try, if I pin it, maybe I'll try, I don't know. I might try stuffing the pillow in there, but I don't know if I want to do that. All right, I'm going to go take care of these edges and take care of my straps, so I will be ready to go. All right, I'm back in a flash. Ta-da! There it is, all done. So when I sewed it together, I sewed the sides and the front seam here, and not this, because you don't do this until you turn it right side out again. And then for the back, I just sewed the middle because I went over to the bench to see how much space I needed to put the ties on, and I left those open so I could bring it over once I had it all sewn together. I could bring it over there and actually mark with the chalk where this ties would go. So hopefully that worked out because, again, the pillow wasn't inside it at that point. And then once I had them marked, I went ahead and sewed and, backstitched over each of these places where the ties are going. So I got those on. I did zigzag everything on the inside that was exposed because it does have raw edges inside of it. And then once I got it right side out again, I just stuffed the pillow in and measured how much room I had for the flange, pulled the pillow out, marked it, and then sewed across it. And there is the back, the envelope style on the back. Oop, needle and brush. And I'm going to go try and see how it fits on the bench. So there it is. I hope you like it. I hope that wherever and whenever you're at, you're having a great time. And thanks for watching.